April 15th, 1912. The North Atlantic was eerily silent, but beneath that calm, glass-like surface lay one of the greatest tragedies in human history. The RMS Titanic was gone. The next morning, newspapers across the globe sold out with a single, haunting headline: "The unsinkable ship has sunk." People wept in the streets. Others stood in stunned silence, convinced it was a clerical error. Because the Titanic wasn't just a ship, it was the pinnacle of human ingenuity, a floating fortress of steel and luxury designed to defy the very laws of nature. But as the years turned into decades, a different kind of shadow began to loom over the tragedy. It wasn't about how she sank. It was about which ship actually went down. What if the ship at the bottom of the ocean isn't the Titanic? At first, the question sounds absurd, perhaps even disrespectful, but that is exactly why it's so persistent. Massive disasters leave massive voids in our understanding, and where there is a void, doubt rushes in to fill it. Today, more than a century later, millions of people still passionately debate a dark alternative: that the White Star Line pulled off the greatest insurance fraud in history by swapping the Titanic with her damaged sister ship, the Olympic. Technically, the White Star Line never officially used the word unsinkable in their marketing, but in the public consciousness, the Titanic was invincible. The reasoning was simple. The world had never seen anything like her. She was 269 meters of state-of-the-art engineering. She boasted Turkish baths, grand cafes, and most importantly, a revolutionary system of 16 watertight compartments. The prevailing wisdom was clear. Even if her hull was breached, she could stay afloat indefinitely. But absolute faith in technology creates a dangerous blind spot. History has shown us time and again that no system is flawless. When the Titanic vanished on her maiden voyage, the world didn't just lose a ship, it lost its innocence. It lost the belief that humanity could fully control the elements. When a failure is this catastrophic, the human mind struggles to accept it as a mere accident. We look for a why that matches the scale of the tragedy. Because if a simple iceberg could destroy the greatest achievement of the Edwardian era, then nothing was safe. But if it was a plan, if there was a conspiracy, the world suddenly felt a little less chaotic. And that is exactly where our story takes a dark turn. To understand the theory, you have to meet the Titanic's older sister, the RMS Olympic. They were near identical twins, built in the same shipyard, by the same hands, using the same blueprints. But the Olympic had a troubled start. In 1911, she was involved in a major collision with a British warship, the HMS Hawke. The damage was extensive. A massive hole in her hull, a twisted propeller shaft. This is where the seeds of the switch theory were planted. The theory suggests that the White Star Line was in deep financial trouble. The Olympic's accident was a legal nightmare. Insurance wouldn't cover the full cost of repairs. So, the conspiracy goes, the company hatched a desperate, ghoulish plan. Swap the ships. They would patch up the crippled Olympic just enough to look like the brand new Titanic. They would send the fake Titanic out to sea. They would stage a controlled accident and collect the massive insurance payout to save the company. It sounds like a perfect movie script. The two ships were so similar that a coat of paint and some new nameplates could, in theory, fool a casual observer. But as we're about to see, a ship is more than just its nameplate. Follow the money. That's the golden rule of any investigation. The conspiracy claims the Titanic was sacrificed for an insurance payday. But when you look at the actual ledgers, the math falls apart. The Titanic cost roughly $7.5 million to build, but she was only insured for about $5 million. If the White Star Line sank her on purpose, They weren't making a profit. They were taking a massive, multi-million-dollar loss, and to pull off a swap, they would have had to deceive thousands of people. Shipwrights, port authorities, government inspectors. All of them spent months crawling over every inch of these vessels. Could a company really keep a secret that large? The conspiracy theorists have an answer. The evidence was buried, and they're right. The evidence was buried 4 kilometers beneath the Atlantic Ocean. On paper, the theory collapses, but conspiracies rarely die on paper. They die when reality becomes visible. September 1st, 1985. After 73 years of silence, the Titanic was found. When the darkness of the deep was pierced for the first time, what emerged wasn't an intact ship. It was a graveyard, with debris strewn across the seabed, in every direction. But for conspiracy theorists, this was the moment of truth. If this was the Olympic, the hull would show signs of the 1911 collision repairs. It would show the wear and tear of a ship that had been in service for years. Instead, the ocean gave us a different answer. Scattered among the coal and the china were mechanical parts. And on those parts, etched into the metal, was a number, 401. At the Harland and Wolff shipyard, every ship was assigned a hull number. Olympic was hull 400, Titanic was hull 401. Let's play devil's advocate. Let's assume, for just a moment, that the switch actually happened. To pull this off, you would need something extraordinary. The silence of thousands of shipyard workers. You would need to forge hundreds of documents across 2 continents. You would need inspectors to miss what they were trained to see, and governments to ignore what they were obligated to record. The British Board of Trade, the American Senate, either incredibly incompetent or quietly complicit. The Titanic sank in 1912, but the story never did. It refuses to settle on the ocean floor. We return to it because the Titanic is a mirror. It reflects our confidence, our ambition, our belief that technology could conquer nature itself. And when that belief shattered, something else surfaced: questions, doubt, and the uncomfortable feeling that maybe we don't know the whole story. Was it human error? Was it arrogance? Or was there something more, something hidden beneath layers of steel, paperwork, and time? Every generation asks the same question again, hoping for a different answer. Because accidents are frightening, but secrets are fascinating. They give tragedy a shape, a pattern, a reason. So perhaps the real mystery isn't whether the Titanic was switched, but why we still need to ask. The ship rests in silence now, 4 kilometers below the surface, unmoving, unchanging. Yet the debate continues, not in the ocean, but in us. So I'll leave the final judgment where it belongs, with you.